Welcome back to Athletic Everyday, day number 241. You're watching a workout that is kind of a mixture between an excerpt of Clarence Kennedy's beginner weightlifting program and my own programming, because I wanted to get some weightlifting in today, but I also wanted to get some jumps in. So I did some knee up into box jumps. These are really, really fun. Don't often program these for myself, but these are very much inspired by Will Rattel. The theory behind why you do this exercise and any kind of jumping in general that isn't specifically the type of jumping that you're trying to do. So the type of jumping that I'm mainly focused on is trying to jump higher to dunk a basketball. Now there is the specificity benefit of just trying to jump on a basketball rim, but for me at the moment in my training, I can't quite do full approach jumps with my quad tendon. It still flares up a little bit here and there. So the reason why I'm doing jumps like this, one, they're less strain on my quad tendon because there's no landing eccentric loading. There's no worrying about that when I jump onto a box, for instance. And it's just a bit less stress on the knee. But also, the main reason why you do these isn't to get better specifically for a certain type of jump. It's just to get good at the task of jumping generally. If you become good jumping in many different contexts, then that will translate over to whatever context you want. You want to be a generalist, whether you're jumping and you're sprinting and you're running. All of your athletic movements, they're not like things that happen in isolation. They're all happening to the same body. And so you want to make that body generally good at doing a lot of different tasks in a bunch of different contexts. So you want to be able to lift weights fast, you want to be able to lift weights slow, you want to be able to lift light weights, heavy weights. You want to be able to do them through varying ranges of motion, through more complex movement patterns, which is why weightlifting movements are so great, because not because they specifically transfer, you're never going to have a barbell in a sport, but the way that you have to move the weights and the constraints of the movements in order to complete the lift successfully are what make them such versatile tools. So going back to what I was saying about the knee up into jumps, that one specific type of jump isn't necessarily going to transfer over into any other type of jumping, but it does improve your ability to jump in a different context from what maybe you do usually. You can do it in multi-directions, you can add different weights to your hands, you can do it in a variety of different ways, you can change all the constraints in the context of that, more so than you can with more conventional styles of jumping, like broad jumps, vertical jumps, and just, basketball jumps, I guess you could say, trying to dunk on a hoop. So it's adding variety, as much variability to your jumping so that you can learn to jump well in different contexts. I think that plays a very, very big role. One, in improving your general athleticism, but two, in improving your ability to jump in more specific tasks. Becoming good to jump generally, building a wide base of abilities to jump in a bunch of different contexts means that you can have a much higher peak on your pyramid, as it were. Anyway, getting into the session. So this session was kind of plucked, at least the snatch and the front squat was plucked from Clarence Kennedy's beginner weightlifting program. So the snatch was 5 sets of 1 of this lovely snatch complex. Full snatch from the floor, followed by 2 hang snatches below the knee. This was really a struggle for me. In fact, I actually plugged in my current PRs for all of my weightlifting movements, and it said that I had to work up to a top set of 75, which you are watching here now. I honestly thought I'd be able to do this a lot better because I've been doing like hang snatch doubles with 80 kilos. But having to complete that first full snatch from the floor really took it out of me, and then the 2 hang snatches afterwards really made me struggle. And I was having a little bit of a struggle with my snatch form at the start of the session. I frequently struggle with trying to push my head too far in between my arms. And so because I have such really good shoulder mobility, I can sort of make up for the fact that I jump backwards a little bit in my lifts. So because I jump backwards, I'm sort of trying to yank my head as far through between my arms as I can in order to keep the bar in line or under balance, which often results in, when the bar gets heavier especially, me missing lifts forward. And you actually saw me on that first rep of the first set here, completely missing a snatch with 75 kilos, which isn't, for a single rep of snatch, shouldn't be happening, especially not the first rep of the first set when I'm freshest. So there's definitely some technical work to go on in my snatch in order to make it more consistent. I always found that the cue of jumping my feet out helped to alleviate the issue that I would have with jumping my feet backwards or forwards. In fact, whenever I find that I feel like I'm jumping my feet too far forwards, if I actually look back at the video, I'm actually just jumping my feet and landing them in place. So that is a very interesting observation that I've noticed from training snatch over these years. So yeah, snatch needs a little bit of work, but overall it felt good to do a nice heavy snatch complex, at least heavy for me anyway. Then I moved into some front squat triples. Again, this is like the first phase of the weightlifting program. So it would have been like the weights that I would have that would progressively increase over the weeks. So this weight is like the initial first week weight for my front squats. So this is front squat triples with, it was supposed to be 112 and a half, but I couldn't find the 1.25s. So this ended up being 113 kilos. And then this was kind of off program. I decided that I would do a set of 8 with 90, not an AMRAP, but just a decently high rep set so that I can train not just the strength end of the spectrum, but also maybe get a little bit of hypertrophy benefit in order to help that quad tendon, to facilitate that quad tendon healing a little bit more. This will supplement quite nicely with all the leg extension work that I'm doing. I actually did quite a lot of leg extension the other day, but forgot to record it on the camera. Anyway, the last thing that I decided to do was some backwards treadmill walking, and that was it for today's session. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.